All right, so today's lesson is 4-1. It is solve equations with variables on each side. So some equations have variables on each side of the equal sign. Okay, to solve, we use the properties of equality to write an equivalent equation with variables on one side and constants on the other side. All right, so the first example, and you guys, you just have to write example 1. You don't have to write the title of this because it's the same title as the actual lesson. And you probably already wrote it down in the margin. So here we have a 10 minus 3x is equal to a negative 5 plus 2x. So we want to have all of the variables on one side and all of the constants on the other side. Okay, so we're looking at, and I'm gonna draw the line. I'm gonna draw the line. Oops, let me use green. So dotted line here. So we know where the equal sign is. Now, I'm going to start with the variables, and we want to move the variables on one side. So here is a variable term, and here is a variable term. So we want to put the variables on the other side. So we want to get rid of one of them. Is everybody with me? Now, how do you choose? You can get rid of either one. I personally like to stay positive. That means that I'm going to get rid of this negative 3x. Is everybody with me? So how do I get rid of the negative 3x? You're going to add 3x on both sides. Very good. So plus 3x here and plus 3x there. Okay? So these 3x's, that's a number plus its opposite, is equal to 0. And we're left with, on the left-hand side, 10 plus 0, which is just 10. Is everybody with me? So if we get 10 on that side is equal to, and then on the other side, we simplify that. We've got negative 5, and then 2x plus 3x is 5x. So plus 5x. Okay? So now it's just a regular two-step equation. So now we can, I'm going to use my cover up. So I'm going to cover up this positive 5x. What do I want to get rid of? The negative 5. So we're going to add. Very good. So we're going to add 5 on both sides. So here we've got a number plus its opposite. That's equal to 0. And what's left on the right-hand side is what? 5x. And that's equal to 10 plus 5, which is 15. Okay? And now, to get the x by itself, we will divide by 5 on both sides. So those 5's cancel. And x is equal to 3. Very good. So why don't you do example B with your table partners, and then I'll show you the solution. Okay? All right, so our answer is negative 6. So first thing, again, I like to stay positive, so I will subtract I will subtract 3x on both sides. So those cancel, leaving with a negative 7 is equal to 5x plus 23. Then we've got negative 7 is equal to 5x plus 23, and now it's just a two-step equation. So now we will just subtract 23 on both sides. We end up with negative 30 is equal to 5x. Well, then we will divide by 5 on both sides, and x equals negative 6. All right, example 2 is solving equations with rational coefficients, and they're talking about fractions on this one. So we're going to do both. We're going to do both methods here. We're going to solve using fractions, And then we're going to solve using the trick that I showed you by getting rid of the fractions, okay? So, write down this next problem. So now when you are adding or subtracting fractions, what do you need? You need common denominators. You need common denominators. So for this first example, what's the common denominator with 2 and 4? 4, right? So let's do that first. So we are going to multiply times 2 here, times 2 there, okay? Make sure you're writing this down. So we end up with 2/4 p plus 7 is equal to 3/4 p plus 9. Now again, I like to stay positive, okay? I like to stay positive. So which one do you think I'm going to try to get rid of? Right. I'm going to try to get rid of the 2/4. So I'm going to subtract 2/4 on both sides. 2/4 p minus 2/4 p. And also, let's put this dotted line down the middle so we know where our balance point is. Okay? So here, we've got a number plus its opposite. That's equal to 0. And what we're left with is a positive 7, so I don't need to write the plus, equals 3/4 minus 2/4 is 1/4. So this is going to be 1/4 p plus 9. So now I want to cover up what I'm solving for. And what am I getting rid of? The 9, the positive 9. So how do I get rid of the positive 9? Very good. So we're going to subtract 9 on both sides. So that is a number plus its opposite. That's equal to 0. And now on this side, we have 7 minus 9, which is negative 2. And then that's equal to 1/4 p. Now, you guys remember how to get rid of the fraction in front of the variable? We multiply by the reciprocal. Beautiful. So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4/1, which is just 4, right? So we're going to multiply times 4/1 over here, and we're going to multiply times 4. You can put it over 1, but you don't have to. Does everybody see that? So times 4 on the other side. So here, this simplifies to 1, and 1 times p is p. And then over here, we have 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. So p is equal to negative 8. All right, so for the next example, we have 2/3 x plus 5 equals 2/5 x minus 3. Now this one we're going to solve by using the least common denominator to eliminate the fractions, okay? So our fractions have denominators of 3 and 5. So what is my least common denominator? What can those two numbers be divided into? 15. 15. Very good. So that means we're going to multiply times 15. So here we're going to multiply each term by 15. Is everybody with me? So we're going to multiply each one of those by 15. So we're going to multiply this times 15. We're going to multiply this times 15. We'll multiply this one times 15, and we'll multiply this one times 15. Okay? I'm going to highlight it, each one, so you can see each of the terms. Okay? So for the first one, we have 15 on the top and 3 on the bottom. We can simplify that, right? So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So let me highlight you so you can see the first term. Here's my first term. So this says 5 times 2 times x. What's that? 10x. Very good. So our first term is 10x. So the next term, I'm going to highlight it. It's this one. This one is just multiplying, right? So this is a positive 5 times 15, which is 75. So this is going to be a plus 75 equals, and now here comes the next term right across from the equal sign. We've got a 5 in the denominator and a 15 in the numerator. So 5 divided by 5 is? 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. Very good. So here I'm going to highlight the next term so you can see it. Okay, so that says 2 times 3 times x. What's that? 6x. Very good. So that's going to be a positive 6x here. And now our final term, I'm going to do it in a light pink, right here, is a negative 3 times a positive 15. What's that? 45. Negative 45. And now my fractions are gone. So now we can just follow our steps. So again, I like to stay positive, okay? I'm getting rid of my variables. So what would I choose to do? Subtract 6. Very good. So minus 6x. Don't forget the x. Minus 6x on both sides. Now, I do want to tell you that, again, that is what I like to do. Do you have to do it? No, you could subtract 10x on both sides. You will end up with the same answer. Is everybody clear? All right, so let's continue. So, let's see, we've got 10x minus 6x is 4x plus 75 equals, and then on this side, though that's a number plus its opposite, that's equal to 0. And what am I left with on that side? Good. Negative 45. Okay. So now it's just a two-step equation, right? So I'm going to cover up my 4x, what I want to get rid of. And how do I do that? Very good. So minus 75 here and minus 75 there. This is a number plus its opposite, that's equal to 0. And we're left with 4x is equal to negative 120. And now to get the x by itself, we will divide by 4 on both sides. So here, those 4's cancel to 1, and x is equal to negative 30. So x is equal to negative 30. So example 3 is now with rational coefficients, but now decimals, okay? And remember, I don't have a trick for that, but we have access to our calculators, right? Okay, so let's, everybody write down the first example. We have 4.06x plus 3.22 equals 27.16 minus 1.26x. Now, we are starting with our variables, okay? So here's my x term, and there's my x term. What would I do? Stay positive, yep. And what do you think I would do? That would be negative. So I would add 1.26 to both sides. But, again, that's just a personal preference. And if you wanted to subtract 4.06x, you could. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so I'm going to add 1.26x on both sides. So here, this is a number plus its opposite. That's equal to 0. 0. And we end up over here. What's 4.06x plus 1.26x? 5.32. 3.32x, don't forget your variable, plus 3.22 equals 27.16. Okay? So now it's just a two-step equation. I'm going to cover up my term that includes my variable, and what do I want to get rid of? The 3.22. How do I do that? We are going to subtract. So minus 3.22 on both sides, minus 3.22. So that's a number plus its opposite, that's equal to 0. On one side, we have 5.32x equals, and on the other side, 27.16 minus 3.22 is equal to 23.94. Now, you guys, we're going to get the x by itself, we are going to, very good, divide by 5.32 on both sides. So, this is a number divided by itself, that equals 1. And 1 times x is equal to x. And then 23.94 divided by 5.32 is equal to, very good. All right, so you guys do the next one with your table partners, and then I will show you the solution. All right, so here x is equal to 2. So what I did was I subtracted 0.10, 0.10x on both sides. Those cancel to 0. We're left with 0.55 is equal to 0.34x minus 0.13. Then I'm going to add 0.13 on both sides. Those cancel to 0. And 0.68 is equal to 0.34x. We divide by 0.34 on both sides, and x is equal to 2.